Welcome to Cards of Insight, where we discuss all things tarot. And I'm Greg, and I live in London.
Anna here, joining you all the way from sunny Brazil.
Susan here. I'm here in Canada.
And Pavlina, greetings from London, UK.
And we are all tarot readers.
Okay, I have more questions, guys. Do you want to take your decks and
Sure.
them?
Yeah, let's do it.
Do it with one card, okay? Okay. Question is, what should I prioritize right now?
Okay. What should I prioritize right now? Well, that's a very large and big
Yeah.
question, right? Wow, those are challenging. Can I? Okay. I drew the Queen of Pentacles. Okay, clearly, I think to begin with, it's money oriented. I just felt it's money. But what should I prioritize now is holding on to a certain amount, a certain sum, to help you with your house. Be it, fixing the plumbing, be it, just buying new curtains, because the Queen of Pentacles is the practical lady. So, and she's really, about her home, about family, help people feel comfortable. And she's holding that coin and she's thinking, if you look at that card, she is really thinking about, well, where should I use this? That, and also she knows how to make do with what she has. She doesn't just spend and say, I need more. If she has a specific budget, she really calculates and say, okay, fine. This is where I'm going to invest this money to make my house a little bit more comfortable. It could be, planting new plants in her garden because there are plants around here in the garden. That would be, really during the reading. Those small details would show up in the reading, but I think it's using the money she has to help with house changes or modifications or remodeling. Not really remodeling, but something practical. Let's say the plumbing is too old. She has to fix it or change it. You see something
Yeah,
else?
I picked up on the same things, I think, Anna. Like, first of all, what came to mind was like budget. She needs to budget her money. And but at the same time, like you say, like the pentacles, like with the plants and all that there. So it's very like, how can I take care of my home? How can I take care of gardening? Like, so yeah, so I agree with you as far as budget, really taking care of her finances at this point, or whoever, could be a man, taking care of their budgetary needs.
If you ask me, from a different point of view, to me, the Queen of Pentacles it's the caring card. It's the motherly card. And one of you pointed out earlier, it's not so much about spending money. It's more about investing in family. So you would spend it on extending the child's bedroom, or spend it on the house, on furniture, a more comfy bed, maybe get the better nappies for the baby because they're not irritating. It's got a lot to do with care and home. And even if it's not a baby, if you were being looked after, it would suggest that you need to concentrate on you being looked after and the health and what's good for you and around you. It's not necessarily saying you're spending money. It's more of spending the money on stuff that's more needed instead of material. I would go with that.
Yeah. Do you see holding on to money? I don't. I saw spending on something necessary.
Yeah.
No, but it could be someone that's ill in their arms.
Oh.
You see, it could be a sick pet. It could be a baby. It could be a sick sibling.
But it's all practical.
Yes.
Yes. Still, I mean, money for the medication, money for maybe a nurse, to help out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Palvina?
Yeah, I just wanted to say pet insurance, maybe. Pet insurance or health insurance,
Mm-hmm.
buy.
Yeah, it wouldn't be money for a pair of new sneakers or trainers.
No,
Yeah,
unless the sneakers are gone.
Yeah, unless you
They're
need
so worn that you have a hole in them.
unless you have a kid in your life that needs, they need runners for school.
Yeah,
Yeah,
something
Yes.
like that. Yeah,
Yeah.
good point.
yeah, practical.
Mhm.
So spending the money rather on a school uniform than the new fashionable trainers or sneakers. You would spend it rather on a school uniform because it's for school.
Mhm. I have a question here. I agree with, the thing about being practical and family and everything. If she had to make a choice, and this is a true question, it's not a rhetorical question. If she had to make a choice between spending that money on something practical for her or something practical for her son or for, her sibling, where would she spend it?
On her
What
sibling.
what
Yeah.
would she give preference to? Would it be on
Siblings.
herself, siblings? Okay.
Because that's what I think the queen
Mhm.
represents, the queen of coins. It's just so much of a motherly, almost unconditional love, really,
Mm.
but more prioritize.
Mhm.
Your priorities are different.
I
Yeah.
can see her always as a healer, somebody who understands the knowledge of the herbs and potions, maybe as well.
Mhm. Mhm. Could she be a nurse?
Yeah, she could be a nurse as
Yeah.
well.
Mhm.
But though she's a head nurse, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think she's like, unlike, say, the Queen of Cups, which can, many times is a healer. This one is a lot more practical, more,
Mhm. Yeah.
how many staff do we have? Like if it was a nursing environment, how many staff are on here, and what are their jobs? What are their priorities? That
Mhm.
kind of caring,
Yeah.
more practical oriented.
Yeah. Yeah. She's really hands-on, this lady.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Somebody generically would say, oh, it's a coin, so it represents money or stability because it's a coin. But if you look at the image, it's all about, yeah, it is stability, but it's the difference between being safe in a house or being safe in your mother's arms. You're still stable in your mother's arms. But if you actually look at the image, you can just see it just oozes mother caring for somebody. It's full of fertility. There's green around her. She's in touch with nature. Sitting
Mhm.
on a comfortable chair. She's comfortable in her environment. And her intense focus is on her possession that she loves in her arms. So it wouldn't be a ring, it wouldn't be some gold jewelry, it would be a sibling or someone she loves, or he
Funny
loves.
because you mentioned money. I agree. When we start learning about pentacles, and you if you're reading about a relationship or something like that, and you get pentacles, people get really upset and say, "I didn't ask about money. I would rather have a cup card or whatever." And what I used to use at that time, and it helps me a lot. It's not about money. It's about value. What do you value the most? You can value things that are not financial. You can value the health of a person you love. You can value, the happiness of someone else. It can be even abstract, but it's the value where you place your value, and also where you place your money is where you place your value. So they kind of come interconnected. All right. Who's drawing the next card? Can I read the question?
Yes,
Sure.
Please.
Okay. What job or activity would truly recharge me, excite me, make me feel like doing things.
okay, Anna. What kind of activity?
What job or activity would truly recharge me?
I've got King of Swords.
Oh my God. We have courts today. Today is court day.
Courts day, yes. Okay.
Well, that's to me, when the King of Swords, it's like a real focus. Like it's like you need the discipline, uh, whether it's in a job or activity. It's like the discipline to and being a leader in whatever you take on. So it's like to me that's what's it's saying. Recharge me. Well, you need to get involved is what it's telling me. You need to get involved. And the king is saying that to me is what that king is about. Like you're involved, you're aware, you're a leader. So it's saying to the person you need to take leadership in your life and whatever you're doing and take responsibility.
I think it's the time to make the decision to go on holiday.
Oh.
Ah,
That's about it.
do you think it's a holiday? Why do you think it would be a
No,
holiday?
it's about as well the distance in different location, but it's about the decision planet.
Mhm.
It's make the decision, yes, I'm going on holiday or I'm doing something for myself.
Mhm.
So you're talking about in terms of being assertive and making a decision. Is that what you mean?
Yes, make the decision to make the time for yourself.
Okay. All right. And for me, I think it would be a little bit more subjective. I wouldn't leave it so vague because the King of Swords. So if you want to leave it generally and say what job or activity would truly recharge me, I would say something with some mental stimulus, something that stimulates you mentally. So avoid films that are going to be emotional. If you're going to do anything, I would do something intellectual. So maybe read a non-fiction book, or maybe have a debate with somebody, or get one of these quiz games, something that will keep your brain going, something that's very active mentally. I think that would do you good. Because the king also, King of Swords, knows what they want. A master debater, if you please. So I would say get some brain activity going. Maybe the guy's brain sleeping a little bit, maybe watching too much YouTube or something. I would say definitely take something more stimulating for the brain. So it's not a card where I would say lie down and do nothing. You need some actual mental activity. Or get your priorities straight, like Pavlina said earlier. That'd be handy for a King of Swords. And know what you want.
Yeah.
It's definitely a card where you need to take charge of your life. You need to make a decision. Maybe you've been loosey-goosey about things and it's like, no, you need to get really involved. You need to make a decision rather
Mhm.
than sit on your hands and
Mhm.
allow others to make decisions.
Well, to me, I think the question itself invites a bigger picture, because the person asks, what job or activity would truly recharge me? So that implies that maybe initially there was interest, there was motivation, the person was stimulated, and then all of a sudden, oh, it just fell. Something happened that the person is feeling down, is feeling, it's not feeling motivated anymore. And because it's a sword, and for me, swords are about sharp, clean, and non-confusing. So I would even venture to say that the place where this person is working is a chaos place. It's very chaotic. People don't really communicate well. There's a sense of, being all over the place. If you look at the card, you have the clouds there. So it's not an environment where things are said in a clear way, where the messages are, obvious and to the point. And this guy doesn't like that. He feels lost. And I think he might have been trying to organize things so that things are neat and clear and focused. And he's just getting tired because it's probably the whole office is like that. You tell Joe to talk to Susan, but Susan doesn't talk to Joe, and then Joe asks Terry to do. You see, this is the idea that I got. He needs a place where everybody knows what they're doing. Communication is clear, and things are done in a very neat way. So I would have to ask, where you work currently, is it a chaotic environment? Do you feel like nobody knows where they are, or what they're doing, and then I would develop, because yeah, they want something specific, right? They want the name of a job. That's really tough. I mean, a specific one.
So it's a stimulus. The person needs a stimulus that's going to recharge, because they're asking about what can I recharge me. So it's a case of how can I, whether it's enjoyment or some sort of mental activity.
Yeah, it is the whole atmosphere that is not conducive to the way he feels about working, I would say. Yeah, and of course, he needs a stimulus, and that's not working.
Because he asked for a job or an activity.
He could keep having the same job if he manages. In my opinion, he could keep that job if he thinks he can manage to make it flow well and be nice and neat. But if he says, no, I'm sorry, but where I work is so chaotic, it's hopeless, then we would have to ask for it.
He was asking for what job or activity.
Yeah.
So I thought changing jobs might be a little bit nerve-wracking for somebody. So I chose activity. So I just thought maybe do something more stimulus at work. So as an example, when I said it was subjective, if he's really bored at his job and he's doing something really monotonous, I would suggest listening to intellectual podcasts that would make you think about when you're at work, if you're doing something tedious or monotonous, or outside work, play some of these games, these brain training games, instead of sitting on YouTube and making your brain dead.
He could play chess.
Yes, exactly, Susan. Yes.
Yeah, like to me, like I was hearing about it right now, there's chess contests going on. So it's an activity you're joining with other people, and it's very focused and mentally stimulating. And also, it's if you're competitive, it's a good competitive as well, because you're competing with other people in these chess games. But even just playing chess is a mentally stimulating game, if you want something mentally. Yeah.
I mean, sometimes even puzzle games will suffice. I mean, some puzzles are hard, and
it can also be recreational, right? Because
Yeah.
if they come from a job like Anna was describing, where they're they're mentally bopping all over the place, and there's no clear line or definition, and maybe they can't quit that job, but this would give them something more, to stimulate their mental thinking and get them focused.
And the king takes charge, so you need to do it. You need to be the king of the swords. You need to actually do it.
Yeah, and he might be in charge of many employees too that are not working properly.
Yeah, but even the card itself tells you to take charge of oneself.
Yeah.
As a king.
Yes, the king is a king after all. Yes, of course.
You could literally be like doing needlepoint if you're a woman. I mean, I'm just throwing it out there, but I mean, there's other things you can do. But if that focuses your attention, like something working with your eyes, and like needlepoint, or some people, or doing art, something that's mentally stimulating, or where you have to put creativity into it.
Like mental gymnastics, right?
Right.
So we've got another good question.
You want me to read?
Go on.
Okay. How can I develop a more positive mindset? I'll let Palvina pull the card for that.
Okay, are you sure?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we have a quote card today because it's a queen of thoughts.
Oh my God.
Oh,
Queen of Swords.
Queen of Swords. Yeah.
After having the king.
well, we've had the queen though. We can't use the Queen of Swords.
Have we?
Yes.
Yes,
Well
Yeah.
spotted, Susan.
yes,
All right, choose
yes,
another one, please.
yes.
Susan is
Susan's
on
on
the
the
game.
ball. Yay.
Knight of
Yeah.
Pentacles. A Knight of Pentacles.
Knight of Pentacles is safe, yes.
Very different from the queen.
Yes. Yes. Very.
Knight of Pentacles. And just to remind us of the question, it's how can I develop a more positive mindset?
Well, if it's a knight and the Knight of Pentacles, he's sitting on his horse there. And I think what he's doing, I think he's meditating. He's sitting on that pony and, like looking and absorbing the surroundings. So that like to me, in order to develop a positive mindset, you have to, I think, meditate and, really get within yourself, understand like what's happening around you and how can you make different changes. So that's like it's an inward journey, if you want to call a search to see what can you change or how can I be different in this life that would make things more positive for me.
When I look at that Knight of Coins, fixed earth, my friend once said to me, and my friends are philosophers sometimes, they say some beautiful things. And my friend once said to me, it was the best advice I ever got at that time. He said to me, don't rush into anything, man. And I'll never forget that. And I took his advice and I didn't rush into it. And it all just worked out on its own. It worked out all fine. Now, the Knight of Pentacles is if you're asking what you can do to develop a more positive mindset, how about sitting back and letting the people come to you? Maybe you're too forceful. Maybe you're in their face. Sit back and allow them to come to you and wait and patience. And I think that should clear your mind because instead of now doing the chasing, you're now doing the waiting. And I think that will clear your mind a lot more because you're not planning to chase anymore. You're waiting to see what comes to you. So if you were a fly fisher and you were fishing and you're fly fishing, I would say stop the fly fishing. Just throw some bait in the water. Just leave it there and wait for a bite and catch something else. And that would clear your mind because now you're relaxing instead of plotting and planning and maybe a bit of too much mental gymnastics maybe, or maybe too much physical exercises. Because if you're physically strained, it can obviously train you mentally as well. I would say relax.
I had a similar feeling here, but I didn't think about relaxing. Because the night is, to me, the night is the young or young adult or adolescent energy, but after the page. So in a way, it's trying to enjoy the process and not taking on so much responsibility, because the feeling I get from this Knight of Pentacle is, man, if I plant that seed over there and it doesn't grow, what then? It's that sense of what if things just don't work out? It's all on me. So it feels like this person is taking on a lot of responsibility and he's having some sort of analysis paralysis. He won't move because he really doesn't know where to invest that coin. And also think long term. Things don't necessarily have to be instantaneous. You might, plant the seed and, in 2 months it will grow, but not immediately. So give it time. Give time to things to develop because sometimes they take longer than we expect. I feel a lot of angst in this card here, especially because the guy or woman asked, how can I develop a more positive mindset? So the person is probably having a negative mindset. They're not feeling like they're being extremely optimistic.
I think the how you can a person can develop more positive mindset. Right now they are focused on one thing and one goal in their set. They don't look back what they already achieved. It's like their mind is, I have to achieve this. This is the way, only way I can see the things. It's like step away and just look around you. Don't focus on just one thing.
Diversify.
And I feel like him sitting on that horse, he's just overlooking things. He's sitting quietly. He's observing rather than, pushing at something where he has to take the initiative. He really needs to quiet his mind in order to figure out, okay, what is my next step, or what is happening around me. So that's why, like, I thought of meditation, like just to sit, relax, observe, and contemplate what is around in order to understand what's happening. And by not pushing things, that it takes away the edge of, like, I got to do something, or being upset about things. It's saying, like, relax, take your time, and just be calm within yourself.
If I can use an analogy as well for another scenario, you could be the knight on the horse and go, if I give that coin to John, is he going to be at home? And then I'd have to give it to him. And then if he doesn't like it, then I'd have to go back there on the Saturday. But I also gave one to Sue. And then if she doesn't like it, and then he's not going to like it. And then how am I going to get to it? The one to Bob, you see? And then maybe they'll come to my house on Thursday and come and collect this coin. Just stay at home, leave the coin, and then just wait for somebody to come to you and just chill. And if you want to give them a coin, give them a coin, but don't worry about it. Just deliver the coin and then just don't worry about it. Or and if they're not there, then just come back. Don't think too much about it. You see, that's the type of analogy I'm trying to just completely clear the mind. I would take Susan's suggestion, maybe do some meditation, listening to music, play a musical instrument. That's very good.
Okay, next question, Greg.
Aha. Okay. What is my colleague thinking but not saying? Now, I would assume this is about me, right? What's he thinking about me but not saying? My colleague. It could be anything. Okay.
Should I pull a card?
Yeah.
Why not?
Okay. I got the Wheel of Fortune.
Ooh,
Interesting card.
very.
It was a jumper. It was a jumper.
We like jumpers.
Well, you're talking all over again the same thing. That's what I think about you. You do the same thing, the same errors, maybe. But
So
you
you
have a
think
knowledge.
so the colleague is thinking you're doing the same thing over and over and over again. You're
Yeah,
not getting anywhere. You're not getting anywhere.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yes, it's just yeah, the
Yeah.
same thing.
You're too predictable, too much routine, and too predictable.
Mm-hmm.
Predictability.
It depends on if you see the wheel as a cycle that repeats itself, or you lost in a hamster wheel and doing it going nowhere. I mean, you're gonna go round until you collapse. and you're not getting anywhere. You're tired, you walked a lot, but you didn't go anywhere. So it depends on how you see it, I guess, for the wheel. If it's a cyclical thing that finishes the whole circle, or if you're just going round in circles in an infinite loop, let's put it this way, and you're not getting anywhere.
But this is why I could see a colleague thinking this and not really saying it to the person.
Yeah.
They're just thinking, okay, here they go again. This is the same thing they said an hour ago from now. This is the same thing they said yesterday, and they're probably going to say it tomorrow. And so it's round and round. Palvina?
I'm sorry. I just when I look at those animals, right? You know,
Mhm.
with and and those it reminded me the meeting when everybody's looking at the person and they are saying the same thing again and again, and they are the meeting notes from the last week, and it
Mhm.
is still happening.
They're doodling. They're doodling on their
Yeah.
notepads, not even listening. Yeah.
This is the same suggestion you made last week and last sales meeting and last month, and we're still not getting anywhere. That's what I can see happening here. Yeah, just the hamster wheel. And this is probably good that the person's asking us this question so they can have oh really? Isn't that interesting? So I do think it's an excellent question to ask because it is reflective for that person to say, oh, wow, if this is what they think of me or others think of me, then I certainly have to rethink what's going on here.
But if somebody's repeats the same thing over and over again, or they're predictable, does that necessarily make them a bad person? Maybe they're just boring and possibly annoying.
It depends. Depends on what they want to achieve with that. Maybe first they don't see they're doing it. It could be they're clueless about what they're doing. Or second, they have an objective and that's the only way they think they can get there. They cannot think of other ways of approaching the objective. So I don't know. It depends. It really depends on who you're talking about, to me.
But it basically says that the colleague is thinking, we're not getting anywhere here. This is just, we're going in this hamster wheel and we're not really getting the results that we need to achieve here. Because they need to open up their mind. Because for sure I would be pulling another card and saying, okay, how can they get off the hamster wheel?
Yeah.
You know what came to mind, but this is a little bit trippy, but I'm going to say it anyway. I think for cars that do not have people in them, like for example the Wheel of Fortune, the Eight of Wands, just the wands. If whatever you associate with that image might give you extra clues on your reading. For example, the wheel is a circle. I mean, it could be about anything. It could be a Russian roulette. If you're, if you like playing, so you should stop risking your money on casinos. And it just occurred to me that, when you tumble dry your clothes, the water goes to the edge, right? So you take the water out, and water is emotions. So maybe the person is saying, oh, guy, you should not be so emotional about things. Be a little bit drier about what you're doing because you're getting way too involved. But this is so personal. I mean, depending on what image comes to your mind, you can interpret it in different ways.
Yeah.
But of course, the interpretation of the card also has a lot to do with the actual question and the scenario that you're
Yeah.
in.
Mhm.
And if you're going to add more cards, then it will be the cards around it as well. Fortunately, we're only doing one card.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening. Please like, subscribe, and follow us. And feel free to leave a comment.